Our top focus. He is a man with a mission. Fresh from his victory in Uttar Pradesh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has drawn the battle lines for 2019 already. Addressing his party member of parliament, the Prime Minister made a call to action, virtually launching his campaign to retain the throne in Delhi. But even as the BJP begins work on its next big challenge, the opposition still looks clueless. Voices of dissent are rising in the Congress. Senior leader Manishankar Aiyar, speaking to India Today, said that a coalition of all opposition parties will be needed to fight the BJP and Narendra Modi.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi returns after scoring his epic triple century in Uttar Pradesh to a rousing welcome at the parliamentary party meet attended by all BJP MPs. As in case with batsmen in form, Modi is in no mood to leave the crease. The Prime Minister, BJP MPs was soon to find out is already padded up to play his next big innings, that of 2019. In the speech that followed, Modi gave his MPs a blunt message. This call to action set the tone for the meeting. He then unveiled his game plan for what his most trusted aide and partner Amit Shah called the next big challenge. Catch them young, Prime Minister Modi said, woo youngsters as early as when they are in class 12. Learn their language, talk to them in their language. Use social media and cell phones to communicate with the youth as they don't depend on newspapers and television channels for information.
पूरा देश भर के सभी +2 इंस्टीट्यूशन को +2 इंस्टीट्यूशंस में जो युवा है उनका एकदम व्यापक संपर्क करें और उनको इस सुशासन के माध्यम से जोड़ दे, ये भी उन्होंने ऐलान किया.
Modi then directed his MPs to reach out to the Dalits, another target group. A week-long celebration to commemorate Ambedkar's birth anniversary was announced. All MPs were instructed to take part. He also dwelled on development, asking his party men to take the government's achievements to doorsteps of the people. At one point, he seemed to pull up the fringe elements in the party when he thanked his teammates for their roles in winning Uttar Pradesh, especially those who stayed silent. A dig at the likes of Sakshi Maharaj, Giriraj Singh and Vinay Katiyar. Even as Modi draws the battle lines, his rivals are yet to recover from the knockout they suffered on March 11th. They are still blaming the pitch for the results. Many want the EVMs to be replaced with ballot paper.
I believe your party now needs surgery.
More than surgery, we need two things.
Yes.
We need a soul and we need a life. We need somebody to put life into our body and we need somebody to get our soul back.
The first thing that is absolutely implicit in what you're saying is that Congress, the grand national party of India, 130 years old, cannot beat the BJP on its own. BJP can only be defeated by a grand alliance of all parties. Congress on its own cannot do it.
Yes, in present circumstances, and this is the consequence of a large number of secular forces deciding to move away from the all-inclusive Congress to try and fight their little battles on an exclusivist basis. So we change from an all-inclusive party to an all-inclusive coalition.
Grand alliance or not, the opposition right now is out of batting depth in taking on the election-winning machine that Modi has made himself. If the Congress and the rest don't get their act together, Modi could well become the Bradman of Indian politics. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, so while the opposition is yet to figure out what introspection should take place, we have Modi there, a man with a mission, which raises the big questions tonight on News Today at 9. Is Prime Minister Modi a relentless election machine? Is Grand Alliance the opposition's only chance, as Manishankar Aiyar says? Should the Congress surrender opposition leadership? Essentially, Rahul Gandhi should look for somebody else to lead. Does the opposition have a leader who can really match Narendra Modi? And will 2019 really be about Narendra Modi versus the rest? Tonight on News Today at Night, joining me on the show, CP Joshi, senior face of the Congress, spokesperson of the party, Syed Zafar Islam, national spokesperson of the BJP. Also, subsequently, we will be joined by Pawan Verma, national spokesperson of the JDU, and Dr. Manisha Priyam, political analyst. Coming to you, Dr. Joshi first. Sandeep Dixit in that interview says Congress does not need a surgery, it needs a soul, it needs a life. Is the party in an ICU?
This is the perception of the individuals. Congress leader having clear-cut vision about 2019. And whenever we have challenges, we always prepare ourselves to face the challenges. You know, this is a different kind of era. The narrative has been changed. The political management, the role of IT, the number of inputs have changed the electioneering of the country. So we are prepared to face this challenge, and we hope that there may be perception of individuals because they have their own experience. But I can assure you that under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi ji, we will be able to face the new challenges.
Dr. Joshi, how? Like how? Rahul Gandhi, one election after the other election, it's been more than 9 years. He has been trying to produce results. Uttar Pradesh election, you don't want to say that you got defeated because of him, but Punjab you try and take credit where it's Amrinder Singh who batted on the front foot and got you that state.
It is the quality of the leader, how he have strategy in different states. You know, it was Mr. Rahul Gandhi who took initiative in Bihar. None thought that Congress will have alliance with Nitish Kumar. It was the decision of the Rahul Gandhi. We first identified Nitish Kumar to lead the alliance, then Laluji joined, and you see what happened in Bihar. Even after having all meticulous planning of Amit Shah ji and Narendra Modi ji, they could not have their presence in Bihar. Similarly, we tried to have a seat adjustment in Bengal under the leadership of Rahul Gandhi. You see what is the space of BJP in Bengal. Either it is TMC or left of Congress. So tactically, we have started identifying the issues, and accordingly we are moving. And today you see in this election.
No. So you were saying essentially the way forward for the Congress is to continue playing second fiddle to these regional parties.
This is not second fiddle. As a national party, we have a role, and it is national party under which the entire opposition will have to come, and we have to fight the challenges under the leadership of Narendra Modi.
Okay, Pawan
So it is
Verma.
not a second fiddle or first fiddle. Never thought that we have a different kind of narration.
Pawan Verma, react to that. Would you say that the Mahagathbandhan that happened in Bihar, that was of course something that was led by Rahul Gandhi, and that going forward, essentially the Congress will be in a position to actually take forward the regional parties, the smaller parties? Do you see that leadership happening in the Congress sign?
No, the Mahagathbandhan in Bihar did not happen under the leadership of the Congress. That's only a matter of record, but all three parties were constituents of a larger alliance. In fact, I want to make some points clear to you. Mr. Nitish Kumar very recently in the capital made an open appeal for opposition unity. He said it's the need of the hour. And I think the opposition must understand that in order to take on what is in democratic terms a formidable opponent like the BJP, the need of the hour is a credible opposition unity with a credible narrative which is prepared for, anticipated, worked upon, and has an appeal and a message for the electorate, which therefore is able to put its own narrative forward and not merely be reactive. Now it's time for the opposition to wake up. It's time for the opposition to understand what it is facing. If it believes that a counter narrative to the BJP is essential for India, it cannot be perfunctory, improvised, casual or ad hoc anymore.
But when will it wake up, Mr. Verma? When will it wake up? Because 2019 is less than 2 years away. And you know, the BJP is already telling, Prime Minister Modi is already instructing his MPs, go talk to students who are in class 12 who will become eligible voters by the time the country goes to polls. They already have a plan in place. The opposition does not even know what to react or what is hitting them.
In fact, I agree with you that Mr. Narendra Modi is, as you yourself put it, a relentless electoral machine. If the opposition has to face up to it, I believe the time is already slipping by and the opposition needs to get together. But as I have said before, that getting together cannot be on an expedient basis. they must understand that it must be based on what is called a Vaicharik Soch, a credible, thought out narrative which they can put forward jointly and with the right degree of credibility. Otherwise what happens is, as Mr. Nitish Kumar made this comment on a public tweet. I don't have to keep referring to Mr. Nitish Kumar, but except that it's relevant to this debate. He said what happened in UP was not a Mahagathbandhan. It was a Gathbandhan. And therefore it was not equal to the challenge of the BJP. Since there was not enough time to plan well in advance, a very large and perhaps the largest segment of the electorate, which are the extremely backward classes, no non-BJP party appealed or tried to cultivate it in the manner in which it should have been done.
Let's get in fact, Syed Zafar Islam on that point. Let's get in Syed Zafar Islam on that point, Mr. Pawan Verma.
So these are the challenges before the opposition.
Would you agree with that, Mr. Islam, that, you know, it's because of reasons that Pawan Verma is citing that you had that massive success in Uttar Pradesh, and at the end of the day, if you look at a Bihar, if you look at a West Bengal, it's not like the BJP juggernaut has not been stopped in states. If these regional parties were to come together on a good enough plank, you would have a competition facing you in 2019.
Actually, let me tell you two things, and the message has come out because of this after this massive victory in Uttar Pradesh, that the political landscape has changed, and that is very apparent after this election result. The narrative has changed, the discourse has changed, the expectation of the electorate has changed, and their aspiration has changed. And I'm sure that the leaders who is leading from the front and who has respect, who commands respect from within and outside, is only the Honorable Prime Minister, because the people of India, the particular, I'm talking about even if you take into account Uttar Pradesh and all the other 5 states where election had held, the people had huge respect for the Honorable Prime Minister, the poor, the masses, the women, youth, everyone has voted for him because he is the only one who can connect with their aspiration. He is the only one who understands what is their expectation, and we feel that Honorable Prime Minister, the approach he has, the message he gives, is definitely he is able to connect with the voters.
You know, but Mr. Islam, to which the opposition has been asking, if the PM is spending so much of time,
we will address the concern
Zafar
of the
Islam, the opposition has been
poor.
asking a valid question. If the PM is spending so much of time in one election after the other election, where is the other larger plans that you have to deliver? Will that take a back seat? Because you're going from one election mode to the other, and the PM is constantly the big face in all the elections.
Not at all. Not at all. You know that the Honorable Prime Minister works 18 hours a day without any holiday. You just take into account the leaders of the opposition, principal opposition, led by Rahul Gandhi. If after every election he has to go on vacation, he works only for 8 hours. His own MLAs are not able to reach him. See what happened, how the MLAs were complaining in Goa. Do you want to give this kind of leadership? And do you want to lead and set an example of this kind of leader? We have demonstrated, we have said the Honorable Prime Minister has set a standard which no other leaders in the country can match, because he is all the time working in the interest of the nation, in the interest of the people, and to safeguard the national interest as well as the interest of the common citizen.
Let me take a quick reaction from Dr. C.P. Joshi on that before I go to Manisha Priyam. Dr. C.P. Joshi,
the poor, and empower them.
Dr. C.P. Joshi, you have a Rahul Gandhi who is not able to shed the tag of a reluctant leader even now. On the other hand, you have a Narendra Modi. How will a Rahul Gandhi take on a Narendra Modi in this fashion?
Ma'am, we are not analyzing UP election right perspective. You see, when Narendra Modi ji contested as candidate as a Prime Minister, he got 43%. After 2.5 years, having all the promises, he got 39% votes. So don't talk in terms of the number of seats, talk in terms of the percentage of vote. You see, Mayawati ji vote increased by 3%. Even after having anti-incumbency, the vote percentage is 29% between Congress and Akhilesh ji. So we are not analyzing in right perspective that even after becoming Prime Minister, the Modi ji cannot...
No, Dr. Joshi, I think a 42% to 40% fall is hardly a fall.
So we have to analyze in correct perspective.
42 to 40% is hardly a
43
fall.
to
I think the real
39%.
story is the
Just
Congress
correct
losing out
correct
even on
yourself.
Amethi and Raebareli in these Uttar
Please,
Pradesh
please
election
correct
seats.
it. Please correct. Please. Don't be parties. Be practical. 43% never exceed. Even they could not exceed in Bihar. They could not exceed in Delhi. You have to understand it very categorically that if Mahagathbandhan is there in UP, the next time 23% of Mayawati and 29% of Akhilesh Congress is more than sufficient to decimate the BJP.
Okay, so you are still hoping of a Mahagathbandhan?
So in next election, the UP and Bihar will decide the fate of the BJP.
Okay, Manisha Priyam, if this Mahagathbandhan is something to be come true, it's like in Hindi as we say, kaat ki handi. Every time in an election, if you're talking about, is it really possible for a Mayawati and an Akhilesh to come together, for a Mamata Banerjee and a left parties to come together? And the most important question, even if they were to come together, who is the one person who can really lead this kind of a coalition in 2019?
No, if the idea is that the BJP, which is a fast expanding political machine as a party, and it's winning election after election in states as well, then you can say that we need to think about what is the credible opposition narrative first. You can't simply say that I'm going to stitch together everything I have and that's going to look like an all India opposition to the BJP. That's not likely to happen. You have a substantially changed political terrain after political liberalization. 1990s onwards, you had a weak center and rising and strong and powerful regional or state level political leaders. Even Mr. C.P. Joshi will remember, even in Rajasthan, for example, the battle was between him and Mr. Gehlot. So you've had very strong contests in state level political arenas, and state level political leaders, including Captain Amrinder Singh, have had their say on central leadership. That whole set of things now seems to be reversing. So you cannot simply say that in the face of a changed type of electioneering, you will carry on the same political narrative and you're just going to somehow cobble together things and say, well, this is my political narrative. That narrative needs to go down to the electorate as something that they will put their faith in. And what is most important at this point of time is to recognize why is it that the BJP is winning. It's not simply about Chehra ki Rajniti. It's not simply about somebody becoming the patron saint of the poor in India. It's about the things that they are saying about the Congress in power. It's about the criticism that they have of Akhilesh in power. It's about the critique that they have of Mayawati in power. So first get the critique right. What is it that you want to attack the BJP government with? Get that political narrative right, and then you will succeed. So in a sense, very high on the agenda are the opposition space, gathering the critique about corruption, muscle it to your advantage. Arvind Kejriwal muscled it to his advantage, he won the election. Nitish Kumar won the election despite not having a big political party on his own side. Try Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav fighting this election minus Nitish Kumar as the leader, and you will find that the results of a Mahagathbandhan will go absolutely different. So this whole thing is not just about a leader ka chehra and all parties cobbled together. It's about putting a very credible political narrative that people will put their faith in, that people will rely in.
Manisha,
so first find
that's
that,
the narrative.
and then
Manisha,
around
that's
it
the narrative that even
the
Pawan
political
Verma
machinery, and that's what is
in fact
missing.
spoke about. But Mr. Verma, where does that narrative come out from? Are there people who are ideating in the BJP, whether you like or you hate their ideas? They seem to be as ideating, they seem to be as sending across the messages and communicating with people. Is that happening in the opposition camp?
If the BJP is ideating, I wish it well. I don't believe it is ideating, it is certainly planning to win elections. And it succeeds because, as I said, it's a very formidable opponent. It has a leader who invests a great deal of energy in every election. It has the planning that goes in advance of that election. It has a committed cadre which is also ideologically committed to a certain kind of India, and it has its ultimate weapon, which is creating social division when required for short-term electoral gain, which it uses repeatedly. We saw it in Bihar also. So it's not, the BJP is doing what it has to do. My searchlight is today focused on the opposition. If the opposition does not put its act together, if it does not understand the enormity of the challenge facing it, if it does not work hard enough to put its own narrative before the people and is not just reactive, responding to the BJP, then I believe that opposition is likely to fail because precisely of the asymmetry between the BJP and the others. It's not that the BJP is invincible, and I want to reiterate that point. We have seen even in these elections, the results in Punjab, the results in Manipur and in Goa, and we had Bihar and Delhi before us too, as witness. The point is that the opposition should stop living in a world of illusion anymore. It must understand that if BJP has won by 30% or 31% or even 39%, there are 60-70% people who need to be convinced that there is the possibility of another idea of India, which you may or may not agree with, but which you need to persuade people to believe in.
You've made your point, but Manisha, would you say that...
It requires application of mind. It requires organization. It requires planning.
Manisha, would you say that idea of India that Pawan Verma is talking about, it has to be something beyond this secularism glue, that all these secular-minded parties come together and fight the BJP? That is an old narrative which is not working anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I just mentioned to you, anti-corruption is a very strong plank. Thereafter, development is a very strong plank. I can tell you that if Akhilesh had invested himself in all 5 years of his rule in doing development in UP, there would have been nobody to upstage him. Akhilesh's real loss really was that the time that he spent in power should not have been spent doodling away like he did. The development that happens in far smaller measures and happens at the very end. Not that the opposition is not in power, it cannot do development as if it were in power. Therefore, they've got to invent a new narrative. Remember always that the Anna Hazare movement, the exposing of corruption scams, coal scam, for example, was exposed through a series of letters from BJP parliamentarians. So what's stopping the Congress party or other parties from catching where the weak wicket of the BJP is? That is the job of these political parties. That is their business. It is not for me to tell them through a television channel as to how they need to invent this.
Manisha,
just by talking about secularism and getting the votes of a particular community in their pocket, that's not going to work any longer.
You've raised
and they
a
need to
pertinent
understand
point.
this. They need to perform, show credibility. Leadership change may be very important.
You've raised a pertinent point, Dr. C.P. Joshi. So is it that the BJP doesn't have weak wickets at the moment that you're not able to expose, or that because you don't have a strong leadership, you're not able to do that? Is the Gandhi family the ultimate glue to keep the Congress together? Can't Rahul Gandhi today say that, look, I will work for the organization, we will look for a new face to try and lead any such coalition that we think of tomorrow?
Don't be part of misinformation. We have a credible leader who have a vision, but I do agree with my Manisha ji that we have to change the narrative. We have to address the aspiration of young generation, and due course of time you will see the churning process is taking place, and we'll come out with new vision of what our party thinks. So don't blame about this, because the media should not be party to it. We have a young man who have a vision of the country, and for that we are preparing our ground. And due course of time you will see that we will identify the weakest spot, which is that he has given false promise to young generation, and we will see to it that the BJP will met.
So then, Syed Zafar Islam, would you say then that the BJP also perhaps should not get into a complacency mode, thinking that, you know, if Rahul Gandhi is leading, it's an advantage to us? Because in India, we have seen parties have gone through ups and downs. You've not really been able to write political epitaphs for anybody. And parties have made a comeback as well. So 2019 is still 2 years away. There is a very good chance that the opposition might just get its act together. And they have performed in some states for sure.
I agree with you, but let me tell you very honestly that we are not complacent, nor that we would want to be ever, because our objective is very, very, very different than what the other political parties has. Our objective is very clear, that we have to empower poor, and that's the time we will invest in next 5 years in Uttar Pradesh and other states, and wherever we are in the government. We are working to empowering women, we are working to empowering poor, we are working for the upliftment of the farmers, and
but the UP elections wasn't solely on the basis of development, Mr. Islam. The narrative was also in fact polarized in a lot of phases.
Let me tell you, no, not at all. They were actually, it is a case study for the Congress and the SAPA. that they aligned together purely to polarize the Muslim vote. And you know what is the result. And even then, even in future, we are not overly concerned about the Gadbandhan and all, because we know that the people of India will discard them completely, even if should they try to have a Gadbandhan like they had in Bihar, because the people in Bihar are regretting by voting for Gadbandhan. Going forward, such Gadbandhan will not work. You have seen Sapa and Congress put together, it didn't work. And even if all three would have come together, it wouldn't have worked even in that sense.
Okay, a final reaction to that then from Pawan Verma before I wrap this.
Has changed. The expectation has changed.
Pawan Verma, would you say that the current wave that has been riding for the BJP, tomorrow it will repeat itself in Bihar again and not the Gadbandhan?
There is a complete bankruptcy of ideas, there is a complete bankruptcy of our leaders, and they are not able to address the concern of the common citizen. And also one more thing I would like to, Mr. Sharma, one more thing I would like to add, that Congress claims to be the principal opposition, but they drop the word principal because they are piggybacking on this. Let me just speak.
Yes, Mr. Verma, please complete your thoughts.
I waited for I waited for my turn, and I am speaking, and I just took 30-40 seconds. Mr. Verma.
Mr. Islam, just give me a view. Mr. Verma, please complete your thoughts.
If you will allow me to speak.
Go ahead, sir.
Just very quickly, I just want to say, I congratulate the BJP for its victory in UP, but I want to caution them. Let it not lead to gloating. And to assume as if they are invincible and cannot be in any way matched politically in a democratic setup. Imagine this kind of statement that in Bihar people are regretting. Do you know the level of support for Mr. Nitish Kumar's government in Bihar? So I don't believe even the BJP should not make a quantum leap from one election to the belief that it is invincible and then begin to live in an illusory world of its own.
You've made your point, sir. Just 15 seconds to you, Zafar Islam. It might be a Modi versus rest case in 2019, but it doesn't make your party invincible. Final comments.
No, I think we are humble, and you must refer to the speech of the Honorable Prime Minister after the elections held in 5 states and in our victory in Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand. But let me also remind Mr. Pawan Verma, I must tell you that our approach is different. You are still thinking in those terms that we will come together, we'll put together all the opposition and then we'll fight against BJP. That is not our objective. Who are our opposition? Our objective is to serve the people.
There is governance, sir, in Bihar. There is governance.
And that is a differentiating factor which people of India have understood it.
Okay. Perhaps, we cannot be painting all states with the same brush. In Indian politics, every state has a different nature, character. But the national elections are going to be something to watch out for, and clearly the opposition in different ways will have to do much introspection, especially the Congress, if it wants to retain that position of the leader of the opposition. Appreciate all of you joining us tonight, Dr. C.P. Joshi, Dr. Manisha Priyam, as well as Syed Zafar Islam and Pawan Verma. I'm afraid that we do not have much time on the show now, but 2019, will it really be Narendra Modi versus the rest, or will there be some new face, a new challenger to Modi, is a question which is too early to answer at the moment.